Hallelujah. Let's get right to it. All praises to the Most High for another day. Let's get to the lesson. Uh, Today in the world, people believe that like evil is normal, okay? And I really want to touch the whole world is beginning to believe that, well, they already believe, majority of the world, that evil is normal. And it's crazy. But I really want to touch on the nation and the race of people that I come from. But anyone that's not from the so-called black or African American, um, or not just black and African American, just Negro, so-called Negro black race that's around the whole earth. Whether you're in America, UK, Jamaica, Caribbean, Africa, I'm speaking to those people because those are the people that I come from. But if you come from another race, you should listen as well because this thing is also it's global, it's worldwide. But I really want to touch on all these things and what a lot of our people, the mindset that many of my people have. Um, it's this thing where people believe that evil is normal, and it has became this way over time because as you look back, maybe only 70 years ago, 60 years ago, people didn't have this type of mindset to this extent. It's becoming more extreme. And that's because sin is constantly increasing. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 5, verses 20. All right. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20, he says, woe unto them that call evil good, and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. And many of our people do these things. Like, for instance, I just want to touch on this no snitching thing. And I understand, hey, if you want to live a gangster life and you want to live that life and you want to go to the lake of fire in the end, if you die in your sins, that's up to you. That's their code. They say, hey, no snitching and this and that. But when you look in the scriptures in the book of Leviticus, it was laws put in place that if you knew a person that was doing evil and you didn't tell the clergy or the elders and you didn't let the land know, you would die with them. Okay? Because this type of mindset keeps evil going and going and going. Okay? You can never put an end to it. So when you have laws in the land and you want to keep evil away, you got to get rid of evil. Meaning you got to get rid of people that want to commit evil. And it's the laws and the commandments that our people follow. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 22. Because now many of our people they look at it like, hey, if you don't love evil, or if you speak up against evil, or if you say something about this person that's snitching, our people have got to the point where they shun righteousness, okay? And it starts at an early age because it's what, many of my people was taught and many of the world was taught. Many people in the world was taught. So Jeremiah chapter 4, verses 22, it says, for my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children. Sottish means stupid. It's the Most High saying this. They are stupid children, and they have not none understanding. See, they are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge. When it comes to doing evil, you know, many people have like extreme ambition to do evil. They will literally camp outside a person's house for a whole day just to catch him and kill him. You know, but they won't put any effort into doing anything good, anything that would build or uplift them or others, right? It's only about doing evil, okay? Extremely ambitious to get things of the world, to get material things, women, cars, clothes, fame, extremely ambitious to murder one another, to, do drugs, commit whoredom, right? Extremely ambitious. And it's sad, and this is what's going on. So many of our people believe that certain things are just normal, okay? They believe these things to be normal, and these things are not normal. I'm gonna name a list of things that our people believe is normal, okay? Um, they believe that evil is normal, and as we just read, they say that evil is good and good is evil, okay? But evil is not normal, okay? And many people, all you got to do is look at life. Look at the people that live evil lives and that do wicked things, okay? many people, they go out in a bad way. They die in a bad way. And many people you may look at and say, well, what about these people? They were rich and famous. But let me tell you, when they die, there's no coming back. Okay. And they got to answer to all that wickedness that they done. Okay. And many of those people don't even be happy. Many of our people believe that murdering someone is normal now. Like when you grow up in certain communities and all you see is murder and hear about murder, you begin to think, oh, it's just a normal thing, but it's not normal. Okay, the commandments in the Ten Commandments it says, "Thou shalt not kill." When Cain killed his brother, look at the conscience that Cain developed after that. He became very paranoid. He said, "If someone find me, they're going to kill me," because this is the mindset that people adopt when they live that lifestyle of murdering. Okay, and it's not normal. Idols. Many of our people worship different idols. They worship statues. They worship technology. They worship money. They worship people. Okay, these things are not normal. People worship people like Tupac and Beyonce and all this stuff. They worship these people, but these people didn't push righteousness. And people may say, people really get butthurt about me saying it's about Tupac, but really open your eyes. Did he really fully push righteousness? No, he didn't. He had make one song about keep your head up and Brenda's got a baby and all this stuff, and then the next song is about I get around and how do you want it. So he was a big contradiction. He wasn't fully pushing righteousness, and we got to be honest within ourselves. Okay, single parent homes. Many of our people think that single parent homes. They believe that this is normal. It's not normal. Okay, the scripture says that a man and woman shall cleave to one another and become one, okay? And become one and raise a family and start their own family. That's normal. Seeing single parents, a mother by themselves, that stuff is not normal, okay?
Raise your hand if you're married. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. The rest of you who don't plan to get married, why don't you plan to get married? I'd like to know that.
You already have your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's a lot of responsibility, and then you don't want the commitments.
I wouldn't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent.
But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man?
Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home, so it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family.
I ain't thinking about holding up for no sex, my man. If a girl, she get having a baby, carrying a baby, hey, that's on her. I'm not gonna stop my pleasures because of another woman.
What about birth control? What about condom?
Girls don't like them things. They don't like them things. They'll tell you to take them things off. They figure that you saying that they filthy or they dirty or something.
It's been a startling change in values. 25 years ago, you would not have heard such things said so freely because they were not embraced so widely. The strong family was still the backbone of Black America, and 3 out of 4 children had both parents at home. That is true no longer. Most Black children are now growing up without their fathers. The result is a world turned upside down as children copy what they see and repeat what they learn. LaDawn said she didn't have a father in her home and doesn't think her children need one. She's not unusual. Half the Black families today are headed only by a woman. Clorinda said she could make it on her own as a single parent. She has never been married and is raising her daughter without a man's help. She's not unusual. Today...
So, another thing that our people believe is normal is poverty, okay? And many of our people, many of my people, the so-called Black people, Hebrews, the Negroes across the whole earth, we grow up in such conditions of poverty where we begin to believe is normal. We begin to adopt a mindset like of that poverty is something to brag about. It's bragging rights, or this mindset of like, just wanting to stay in poverty. Now, I'm not saying that you have to be this extremely financially rich person, but poverty is not something that's normal. It's not. Deuteronomy 28, chapter 28, verse 29, he says, "And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness." See, when you're groping, a person gropes at night because they can't see. So they put their hands out and they try to feel their way. Like, have you ever went in a room and it was just so dark you had to put your hands out so you could feel and touch the wall so you won't bump to anything? He's saying that these people are blind, spiritually blind, mentally blind. They're a person shouldn't have to grope at the noonday because it's light, right? But he's talking about spiritually lost, okay? And he says, "Thou shalt not prosper in your ways." Prosper is prosperity, okay? It means to advance. It means to grow.
Chicago skyline, 5 miles south of the one most people know. This is Robert Taylor Homes, the largest housing project in the world, the poorest urban community in the United States.
A lot of people don't like to come in the project because they really, they're afraid because they think something might happen to them. And I couldn't much blame them for that because a lot of people have got killed over here in the project, And I think if I wasn't living in the project, I probably would be afraid to come up in here too.
This is an America far different from the one most of us know.
Here at the currency exchange, Mrs. Eva Nash and her son Dwight are here to pick up welfare checks and food stamps. This is payday.
When they open up the door, they pushes you in. So they had whirled me all the way around when I was going in, and I had this newspaper. So I was inside, but my arm and hand was on the outside. They almost broke my wrist. And people be falling all down, people be losing their shoes and stuff. And that's ridiculous, that's not right.
Mrs. Nash has been standing in such lines for many years. 10 of her adult children now do the same.
I know, Mother. I used to always tell them all the time, when they were small, that I wanted them to go to school and get their education so they wouldn't have to wind up, being on aid like I am. Every last one of them is on aid. I don't cash my check here. They take out too much.
It wasn't always this way for the Nash family. In the early 1950s, they were poor, but the men had jobs. Eva Pickett's father was a coal miner in Akmar, Alabama. In 1953, she traveled north to Chicago to marry Willie Nash, a World War II veteran from Greenville, Mississippi. Like many Southern black people, Mr. Nash had migrated north in the 1940s, lured by jobs that weren't available back home. He supported the family as a factory worker, postal employee, and cab driver for 20 years. As those years passed, job opportunities for the unskilled in industrial cities like Chicago began to dwindle, while government programs to end poverty grew more numerous and more generous.
All our material riches.
When poverty was aimed at providing children like the young Nashes equal opportunity, better nutrition, health care, improved education, expanded welfare, intensive job training. But despite all the programs meant to bring them out of poverty, the Nash family seemed to slip more deeply in. In 1972, Willie and Eva Nash divorced. Unable to support his family, Mr. Nash returned south. Mrs. Nash could only find temporary work. Finally, public aid and public housing seemed the only alternatives. She moved her family into a high-rise building operated by the Chicago Housing Authority, the CHA.
I'd rather have a job than to be on aid. When we were together, I wasn't on aid, And so after we separated, that's when I got on aid.
Despite education programs, the children, one by one, dropped out of school. Despite social service programs, the girls became teen mothers. Despite job programs, the boys grew up to be men without jobs. Instead of a temporary lift through a rough period and a leg into the working society, public aid became a way of life for 3 generations of the Nash family.
And I used to always say all the time when I used to see on TV before I moved in the project that I would never move in the project. But the other buildings where we stayed at, they got condemned, the water was cut off, we didn't have no way to flush the toilet. We had to borrow water from other people that homeowners. And the people's got tired of, giving us water. And the lady from the Urban Progress Center came out and asked us would we like to move. And we told her yes, so that's when we got a chance to move in CHA.
3 generations of the Nash family, 15 people, live in this 6-room apartment on the 5th floor.
I really want to move away from my mother because I know my mother tired of us living with her. I know my mother want to be home, be on her own. I've been trying ever since my little girl was 1 and she's 7, she'll be 8 in August.
Gloria, Angel to her family, and her sister Sheila have asked the Chicago Housing Authority for apartments so that they and their children can move out.
If you get burnt out, they'll probably give you another apartment or something like that. But it's too many people in this apartment.
Having the grandchildren underfoot aggravates her high blood pressure.
But my nerves sometimes it be more worse like than the other time. With all this pressure on me and everything. See, like the doctor give me like Libra, whatever you call it. And they have gave me like the yellow nerve here, they call it Valium T.
In the living environment at Robert Taylor Homes.
Most of the people around my house, all they do is get high and stuff like that.
A lot of fights around our house. Something like every day almost.
When you don't have money to do the things that you would like to do, the things that you need to do, there's stress.
Okay, many of our people think that money is the only way to grow, okay? But money is only one factor of prosperity, right? Many of our people obtain money and finances and they get rich, but they still not prosperous in their family. They're still not prosperous in their health. They're not prosperous in their spiritual life or their relationship with the Most High. They're not prosperous in the purpose, the true purpose that they're supposed to be following. They're not prosperous in these things. So they're still unhappy even though they have money and material things. He says, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore. No matter what you do, no matter how much you obtain, you still feel oppressed and spoiled. Okay? And no man shall save you. Okay? No man shall save you. Now, remember, in Deuteronomy 28, he says, when you obey him, that it will be the opposite. The Most High never said, I chose my people to be poor. Never. Poverty and being poor was a judgment that came upon us, okay? When you look at Deuteronomy, all the blessings, all of them pertain to being rich, having plenty of everything, okay? So living in poverty is not normal, okay? It's not normal, all right? Doing drugs and being drunk, right? Many of our people believe this is normal. Many of our people believe smoking weed every day is a normal thing. You see people that get up, the first thing they do is smoke weed. They don't pray. They smoke weed before they even eat, right? They believe this type of thing is normal, right? They just believe that is normal.
I started using drugs when I was about 16 years old. I just, got with some friends and we would play a little basketball, and then after we would finish the basketball, we would go get beers together. And one thing led to another. The alcohol led to marijuana. Marijuana led to pills. The pills led to cocaine. And before I knew it, I had lost like 15, 17 years of my life.
I felt very, no self-confidence. I had no self-confidence. So with it, drugs and alcohol, I got a little self-confidence that made me more of a talkative person, to meet more friends, things like that.
It became so apparent to me that as they were able to talk in psychotherapy and open up about what was going on in their lives, that before they reached for that first joint or before they did that first line or picked up a pipe, there were things going on that they needed relief.
Okay, and they smoking weed because they're trying to cover up the pain. They're putting a Band-Aid upon traumas and a lot of mental things that destroy the mental way of thinking, critical way of thinking, traumatize them. So they smoke weed every day, and they thinking that this is going to, heal them, or it's just a way to make them feel better day by day. But it's not going to make things better. They don't want to be sober because they don't want to face the thoughts or the feelings or the demons that they're dealing with, okay? But the Most High heal you from that. Doing drugs is not a normal thing, no matter what people say. Smoking weed is not normal, okay? That's a broken people, right? Smoking weed every single day, all right? But he says, be not among, in Proverbs 23, verses 20 to 21, he says, be not among wine bibbers. That's a drunkard, right? Among riotous eaters of flesh. That's a person that loves pleasure. And you look at people in our communities that live in the ghettos, they love to engage in pleasure, smoking weed, drinking, eating every single day. It's always a gathering or a get together. You know, I grew up in the hood of Chicago. Like, all of our people wasn't doing this in the community, but many of them was, you know. At one point I was doing it. I was working, and as soon as I get off work, I got to have me a drink, some weed, got to party, play cards. This was an everyday thing. But the reason why people do these things is because of the pain. See, when people are traumatized or they're dealing with pain, or they have insecurities and low self-esteem, they chase pleasure. Okay, they chase pleasure because they want to feel good, and they feel like this pleasure is going to make them feel good. But see, pleasure won't ever make you happy and joyful. It'll just make you deceive you into making the flesh feel good, you know. And listen to me, most people that chase pleasure is dealing with traumas. They're dealing with low self-esteem, and they're sorrowful and depressed. This is why many of our people chase these things, okay? He says, for the drunkard and the glutton shall come to poverty. And when you're always drinking and doing drugs, you're going to always be in poverty. That's just the way that it is. How could you do anything productive when you're always drinking and smoking weed and doing other drugs, right? Getting up at 12 o'clock, you know, afternoon, 1 o'clock because you was up all night drinking and partying, you know. You can't be productive. You can't do anything when you're doing that. And drowsiness shall clothe a man with rags. You're always drowsy. You don't have energy in anything. You don't have energy to even think productivity, right? Because you're always staying up late, drinking, smoking, right? Chasing pleasure. This brings you to poverty, all right? Fornication. A lot of people believe that fornication is normal. Fornication is not normal. Sleeping around with different women, sleeping around with different men. This have became normal in our community. They listen to music that push these things. And they glorify it, you know. Anybody that want to stay a virgin, if a man is a virgin and he's like 25, 26, right, 30, they look at him like he's soft or he's weak, right? And it's stupid, you know, because he don't choose to go out and, you know, sleep around with a bunch of women. And a woman, you know, if she remains a virgin, it's like a lot of men don't even look at her. They don't want to talk to her. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing because she can weed out all the men that's not on anything, but it's like they despise that type of woman. And then they want to get on YouTube and complain and whine like little babies, right? But you want to choosing to keep fornicating and choosing to choose the women that you choose, right? But this is not normal. This is why so many single parents are in the neighborhood. This is why so many children are being raised without guidance. No, the Most High is not in the household because fornication is not normal, guys.
What becomes of the black family in a world where the values are being turned upside down?
If the parent is 17 and 18, uneducated, unmotivated, fooling around, wandering around, what's the child going to learn? Who's to teach him? When you learn something, you was taught by your parents. It was reinforced by school and your neighbors, but it was taught by your parents. Well, if the parents don't know anything, how are they going to teach the children? So it's not racism that I'm fighting right now. It's the lack of motivation. See, I'm not even talking about racism. Maybe later on we'll get back to that. But I think we are destroying ourselves.
I had to pinch myself and see if I was here because I was like, this is too much.
Clorinda was only 15 when she got pregnant with her daughter, Shaquana. She is not unusual. Half of all black teenagers become pregnant. Clorinda has never been married. She's still living with her mother at home, where she's raising her baby daughter. Have you asked Darren to help you with the baby?
No, because I see he can't even help himself. He can't. It's pitiful to say that, but he can't.
He wasn't prepared to be a father?
No. And he still isn't.
Were you ready to be a mother?
Well, no. But now that I am, I just have to take it step by step.
She not tender-headed.
Clorinda relies on welfare to support Shaquana, but it's her mother, Gloria Henderson, who gets the check for the whole family. Gloria, 34, has never been married. She was a teenager when Clorinda was born, just as her own mother, Clorinda's grandmother, had been when Gloria was born.
When you were pregnant,
While still a teenager herself.
your grandmother was a single woman with a child. Your mother, a single woman with a child. Now you. Why is that happening?
I really didn't plan on getting pregnant, but if I really had somebody to really sit down and talk to, like really express my feelings to them, I don't think none of this would have happened. And then when it did happen, my grandmother's like, I told you this, I told you this, tell me nothing.
Nobody told Darren anything either. He too lives at home with his mother.
Where's your father?
Locked up.
Locked up where?
Green Street.
What for?
Fighting and shit. Fighting. Violence. Stuff like that.
It's not normal. No matter what we've been taught or what we've been told, it's not normal. Deuteronomy 23, verse 17 says, "There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel, nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel." Okay? Sodomite is a person that engage in homosexual activities, okay? Ain't no sex and all them things, right? Many of our people engage in a lot of sexual immorality, right? Because we imitate the heathen. Now we want to do all these nasty things. People engaging in homosexual activity, they engaging in nasty things with women, men and women engaging in things, right? Don't believe that you can just do anything sexually. And I don't want to get into too much details with that on this video, but don't be deceived that just because you're married that you can start doing all these sexual immoral things, okay? And most of these things was a part of the heathen. But see, we want to imitate the heathen, the people around us, right? Instead of being a light and telling them that what they doing is wrong, right? Let's go to Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5 through 7, right? Whoremongering. Because the people, men think that it's okay for them to just sleep around with different women, right? And women are ridiculed for sleeping around with men, which they shouldn't be doing. But men are glorified for having a bunch of women, right? But this is why so many women are single parents. This is why so much it's no order, okay? It's no order because these men are not taking responsibility. You can't say, well, they had multiple wives in the Bible. Well, that was multiple wives. And I'm not going to lie to you. Most men today don't even have the mindset to even engage in that, because you got to have a different mindset. You got to be very responsible. You got to be very selfless to engage in that type of, and most men don't have that mindset. Instead, they're selfish. They're sleeping with all these women and they leaving them alone with children. Right? Ephesians chapter 5, verse 5 through 7, it says, "For this you know, that no whoremonger, nor unclean person." So men love whores today. Let's be honest. Men love whores. Okay? A man will walk right past. You claim that you want this good woman, but you'll walk right past her. Right? Because she don't have super wide hips or something, or she's not showing off her body. Right? So you walk right past the woman that's going to be the best helpmeet you ever had, the best wife you ever had, right? But you want this woman right here because she's showing off her body or she, men love whores, right? It says, "No unclean person, nor covetous man who is an idolater have any inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and of Elohim. Let no man deceive you with vain words. For because of these things cometh the wrath of Elohim upon the children of disobedience. Be ye not therefore partakers with them." Don't be partakers with men that engage in these types of things. You can't say, hey, I want a good wife and I'm this and I'm that, but all your friends are whoremongers. All right? Lack of education, okay? And when I say lack of education, I'm not talking about college, right? There's nothing wrong with going to college if you do it wisely and go for the right thing, but I'm not just talking about college when I say lack of education. I'm talking about knowledge. Many of our people don't want to learn anything. And it's just the truth. Like you may say, hey, man, you want to get your finances up, but maybe you should learn this. Or maybe you should get certified in this. And, You know, these are sometimes the things that you have to engage in. You know, not sometimes. It depends on. You have to do these things if you want your finances to increase. But it depends on. I can't speak for every person because it depends on the path that the Most High set that person on. Some people go to college. Some college is not for some people. Some people get certified. Some people get trades. Some people engage in business. But the thing is that you have to get knowledge and wisdom of these things.
15 Nash children dropped out of school. Only Juan, age 15, still attends. He's 2 grades behind.
Well, I was going to DuSable High School, and I was in the 10th grade. And the reason why I dropped out is just, I just stopped going. Just stopped going, period.
Samantha Nash is 19.
I didn't never get into trouble at school. It's just that it was just boring.
Kenny Nash was afraid of gangs.
So they caught me going to school one day, you know, and they jumped on me, beat me up, about 5 of them, you know. Ever since then, I ain't been to school since, you know. On the day I was getting ready to graduate.
Angel got pregnant.
When I went back on my own, they wouldn't let me in. They told me that I needed my mother. And I felt that I was 18 then. Why did I need my mother to take me to school?
Most of the children who grow up at Robert Taylor Homes don't finish school, though for a while there was a growing federal commitment to improving their educational opportunities. The Nationals...
Before you do it, even if you don't go to school, you have to learn something. You have to read a book. You have to sit amongst somebody that has the knowledge and will teach you. You have to learn in some type of way. You get what I'm saying? And you have to actually go and do it and learn from your mistakes, right? But many of our people just don't want knowledge when it comes to all aspects of life. They just don't want knowledge. And it's right here, right? But it says, for behold, this is Isaiah chapter 3, verses 1 through 3. For behold, Yah of hosts do take away from Jerusalem and from Judah the stay of the staff and the whole stay of bread and the whole stay of water. That's poverty, right? Now look at this. Verse 2 through 3, this is talking about judgment and the punishment that the Most High put upon the men of Israel. He took men of character away, you know, and many of us grew up, me speaking from my own experiences, and I know many other brothers can relate, is that we grew up in a community or an environment where we didn't have, like, literally probably no man of character in our lives. Some of us literally had no man of character. No man that's, look what he says, verse 2, the mighty man. Many of us didn't have a mighty man in our lives when we grew up. The man of war, right? Many of us don't even know war today, okay? We engage in spiritual war today, but, I mean, we so busy building Babylon, we don't know nothing about war, just like our ancestors when they were in Egypt. He says the judge. Many of us didn't grow up around men who had positions of authority, the clergy. We didn't grow up around these things. The prophet, right? The prudent, the wise, the ancient. Many of us didn't grow up with these things. We didn't have the ancients. We didn't have wise grandfathers and fathers and men of age to show us wisdom, right? The captain of 50, men that had authority over other men. The honorable man, right? The counselor and the counselor, right? We should be able to have men that can counsel us in aspects of life. He has the wisdom of the Most High to counsel us. We didn't have that. The cunning artificer. This is a man good with his hands, right? Can create, right? Can build, can teach different trades, right? It says the eloquent orator. This is a person that can motivate you through their words. Many of us didn't grow up with these things, and it's not normal. It's not normal, okay? It's not normal. All right. Hold on. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7, verse 12. For wisdom is a defense. Wisdom is a defense. Wisdom is precious. And money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom giveth life to them that have it. Right? Wisdom is a defense. Money is a defense when you got wisdom. Okay? Because you can be rich and not have no wisdom or no knowledge. You could be poor spiritually and still have money. It's possible. It's very possible. We see Most people are like that today. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom give life to them that have it. You got to seek wisdom and knowledge. Walking around not wanting to know anything and just want to be a fool is not normal. Proverbs 22, chapter 22, verse 29. See thou a man diligent in his business. He shall stand before kings. He shall not stand before mean men. Right? And that goes back to having purpose. Many of us didn't grow up and was taught to have purpose and direction in life. We look at everybody else and we want to do what everybody else is doing. We try to figure it out on our own, right? Not seeking the Most High to figure out what our purpose is.
Timothy McSeed held his last steady job 2.5 years ago. He's been arrested several times on robbery and drug charges. He was brought up in Newark by his mother, who was 16 when Timothy was born. His father has another family in another city. Timothy has a talent for drawing, which he has never developed. He dropped out of high school at 16 and spent 2 years in the Job Corps. He was 23 when he and Alice had their first child. Timothy does not support any of his children. How many children do you have?
6.
He fathered those 6 children by 4 women. He also had 2 more children by 2 other women, but one died in infancy and the other was aborted. We asked him about the birth of his first surviving child.
It was kind of a funny experience because, like, me and the girl was just messing around, right? And she was going with somebody else. She used to be an old girlfriend of mine. She managed to get popped up by me.
Okay, that's the second baby. The third was?
Mustafa. He was the third.
That was by another lady?
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Ward. Yes, I go see him every now and then.
How old is he now?
He's 5, if I'm not mistaken. 504, either one.
And then the fourth one was?
Simone. I only saw her twice. 2 times.
What happened to her?
It's a family problem. You know, the father don't want me to see the mother and all that. You know, so I got tired of running behind her and found me someone else. I didn't have to sweat it because I guess the father was taking care of them anyway, so.
How does it feel to have those
women?
No, kids.
Kids? Well, you get to see, if it ain't one thing you've done, you like artwork, for instance. You look at your art, you say, this is something that I've done. Just like the carpentry, it's something that you've done. You can see what you've done. If anything, if you don't do nothing, you can see something, you know, what your life was, you know, it was to you.
So the kids are sort of artwork?
Well, not really, but you can, like they might grow up to be doctors or actors, you know, and you can say, look, that's my boy, or that's my girl, you know. Whereas, you know, there's some people that can't have children at all.
He had a job.
I'll see you another blue moon.
I know he would take care of me and the children and the bills. But what's holding him back, well, this is what he tells me all the time. He figure I'm going to be with another guy or I'm going to slip away from him while he at work. That don't make no sense to me.
Don't you have had these kids if you'd thought about them in advance?
No.
All were an accident?
Yeah, you can say that.
Were you just having a good time?
Yeah, a lovely time. I enjoyed myself.
And you didn't think about marrying any of these women except the first one, the first girl?
Yes. Well, I'm going to marry Alice.
Sandra?
Oh, yes.
Understand that I'm here, you know, taking care of all this by myself. If he get that, if he think like that, I think he'll do something. I don't really think he understand that I'm doing that.
Why do you let him off the hook? Why do you put up with it?
And sometimes I be like telling him, leave me alone, it's over with. But every time I do that, when he's not with me, even that same day or the next day, I feel, you know, lonely without him. Feel like, you know, I just get angry and say them things. I don't really be meaning them. So.
Do you love him?
Yes, I love him.
Does he love you?
Yes, I think he loves me too.
And you got to have small beginnings. And like Zechariah The book of Zechariah with Zerubbabel and Jeshua, they got discouraged. These was our ancestors because they started small. But we got to start somewhere. You see? We got to start somewhere. Hey, this video may not get a lot of views, but at least if I can touch one soul, then it was successful. That's how I look at it, because you got to just keep going and letting it grow and grow and grow. It's the purpose, right? But many of us don't even know anything about purpose, or, we don't even know why we're living. We just think we're living to eat, sleep, and obtain material wealth, possessions. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 65. All right. Depression. Depression is not normal, but many of our people don't want to talk about this one. They don't want to admit that they're depressed. This is why they chase pleasure. They don't want to admit that they're depressed. This is why they want to drink and smoke and constantly have sex, right? They don't want to admit that they're depressed, even though they may have money or the house and the cars, right? They don't want to admit that they're depressed, that they're sorrowful, right? And this is not normal. This is judgment. And the Most High can deliver us out of this. Deuteronomy 28, verse 65. And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, no matter where you are. If you're in America, Africa, UK, many of our people say, hey, I'm going to go to Africa. And they go there and they're still depressed because your mindset is still the same. You're still sinning. You still have an evil mindset. So going to Africa didn't change anything. You just took the same mindset with you to Africa. Okay? No matter where we are. He said, and neither shall the soles of your foot have rest, for Yah shall give you there a trembling heart and failing of eyes and sorrow of mind. That's depression, sorrow of mind. Sorrow of mind, because we believe that our lives revolve around what we have, how much material things we have, and that will make you depressed itself, because you'll never be satisfied. You'll be constantly comparing yourself to others. You're constantly comparing yourself to others, and and many of us think our whole purpose of living is just to get more and more stuff. The more money you get, the more stuff you want. All right. These things are not normal, but once again, this is how you overcome these things. And this is the only way. Let's go to James chapter 4, verses 7 through 10. He says, submit yourselves therefore to Elohim. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Resist the devil. You got to resist the devil, the temptations of the world, of sin, and he will flee from you. Draw near to Elohim, and he will draw near to you. The Most High is not trying to chase you down. The only way you're going to get close to him, you got to draw near to him. You have to seek him, praying, reading his word. You have to talk with the Father. How you would talk with your physical father. If you never had a physical father, the things you always wanted to talk to a man about, you need to talk to the Most High about that. Okay? Ask him to heal you from your insecurities. Take you away from depression. Show you what you need to do in life, your purpose. Forgive you for your sins. And don't keep sinning. Strive to keep his commandments. Ask for the gift of the Holy Spirit. You have to do these things. You have to draw near to him and seek him in prayer. Sometimes you have to fast to overcome certain things. He says, cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned to mourning and your joy to heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of Yah, and he shall lift you up. You got to humble yourself. You cannot go through life thinking that you know everything. I'm going to do this. I want to do that. I'm telling you right now, you will go on a life of, it'll be like a roller coaster. You won't get anywhere because you just dependent on yourself. You think that you know it all. Okay? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 1 through 2. He says, and it shall come to pass, if you listen diligently unto the voice of Yah your Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command you this day, that Yah your Elohim will set you on high above all nations of the earth. You will be prosperous in everything. And all these blessings shall come on you and overtake you, if you will listen unto the voice of Yah thy Elohim. So, listen to the voice of Yah thy Elohim, okay? If you got something from this, if you feel like this is speaking to you, what I'm telling you, this is the word. This is not me. This is the word of Yah. Listen and do something about it. Change today. Start today. Okay, many of us already know what we need to do. We know we need to stop sinning, stop being a whoremonger, stop worshiping idols, let go of these pagan holidays, right? Change our diet, stop eating all the wicked foods of the world. Leviticus 11, pork, swine, right? Shellfish, stop engaging in drugs, stop being a drunkard, right? Stop worshiping material things. Stop envying one another, being jealous of one another. We know things that we need to get better at. We know the things that we need to overcome. So start today. Get on your knees and pray about these things today and take a step towards righteousness, because evil is not normal. None of these things are normal. None of it. No matter how much people say it is, no matter what the music say, the TV, no matter what you was taught, it's not normal. All right? So all praises to the Most High. Father Yah, I hope you got something from this. Peace.